music, dance, Rasikas, the great artist. Today, Bhavan, as usual, every year it does, it heralds the onset of Margadi, well ahead. Margadi sets in on calendar. Now, for the coming nearly a month and a half or maybe more, city would be a center of vibrant activities. Artists from all over the world would be coming, performing in various theaters, various Gansavas. Rasikas would be enjoying, having the feel of it. And people from all over the country and abroad also as an audience they will come, because by now Chennai has established a reputation, is a long-held reputation of being the musical capital of, or cultural capital of our country. This being an event hosted by the Bhavan, I would also like to thank the Bhavan officials, especially Thiru K. N. Ramaswamy and his team, and Thiru N. Ravi. This Kendra, as far as I know, is among the most vibrant of Bhavan Kendras. They have been taking numerous initiatives. And whenever there has been an area, a new area, by which we can explore or expand or enrich our heritage, Bhavan has been always forthcoming. As far as Raj Bhavan is concerned, we have been a beneficiary of Bhavan's initiatives, and at times we forget the difference between Bhavan and Raj Bhavan. When I came to Raj Bhavan and we found that when Mahakavi was not there, when we have all corners, we have images of all the greatest stalwarts, especially in the domain of politics. And Mahakavi was not there, Bhavan was forthcoming, and they were the one who installed Mahakavi's. A beautiful, magnificent statue of his, at which place we hold every year regular functions on his birthday, on his Samadhi day, and other initiative whenever we take. In fact, 12th of December is not far off, when Raj Bhavan is going to have a larger initiative where people from all over the country would be coming, especially those who have multilingual, with Tamil being one language and other Indian languages being one. People have done the inter-language work, and we do felicitate a large number of people, in fact, not less than 70, 75 every year. And it's a big discovery that when you find that somebody sitting in Assam has done the translation of Tamil literature, some work into a Bodo language, Assamese language, the hidden talents, we find them all, they come over. They also find it very comfortable and very, very rewarding and enriching experience to come to this land of Tamil. So Bhavan has been forthcoming. Some months back, we took initiative that we should celebrate Kambar on an institutional basis. And we established a Kambar Vanam at Raj Bhavan. We have a larger space, after all, it is a forest. So there again, Bhavan came forward, and they are now putting up a magnificent statue of Kambar, which is going to be now there forever. We also, on moments like this, it is worth reminding us again and again the purpose for which Bhavan was established, and which Bhavan has been doing it, because many times we get so much absorbed into the day-to-day events, like now we are having Margadi, the Bhavan has invited large number of renowned artists who would be coming, performing, enthralling the audiences. But what was the spirit behind it? We know, but it is worth repeating again and again, because today we need it more. Bhavan, we know it was started in 1937, as Mr. N. Ravi mentioned, in a backdrop of a very, very dismal and dark backdrop, when independence of the country was nowhere in sight. There was no Second World War, nothing. British were very comfortable. And at the time, our leaders realized that while political freedom would be far off, we do not know when we would get. In fact, many historians say that Second World War came as a boon for India, because that is the war which paved the way for India's independence. But the fact is that in 1930s it was nowhere in sight. But at that point of time, our leaders realized that while political freedom might take time, we must preserve who we are. And what the British were doing, they were trying to eradicate that sense of selfhood. That through constant initiative, through education system, the European education system, telling us to forget we were in dark ages and all. At that point of time, they created these institutions to keep our culture, our heritage alive. They started educational institutions where students would be imparted the modern education is steeped in our cultural values. That was the background. And Bhavan for last over 80 years has been continuously carrying on their responsibility. All the kendras of Bhavans have been doing very well, but as far as I know, Chennai Kendra has been the leading one. Our educational institutions, means institutions which are run by Bhavan, is among the best in the country. Wherever you go, you find people falling in line to get admission for their wards into Bhavan-run educational institution, because they know the quality, not only in terms of the modern education, but the fact that the student coming out of those institutions are deeply rooted in who they are, in the tradition, the sanskar as we call it, of our country. And so I take this opportunity to thank all the office bearers of Bhavan, Chennai Kendra. Friends, we know that we are at a phase, our country is in an era of awakening. At this moment comes once, not in a lifetime, but once in perhaps centuries. And we see that this moment is coming perhaps once in a millennia, when our country is waking up with a sense of its selfhood, who we are. At a time when the world is ridden by conflict, the Bharat is showing a new way, the way, sustainable way for economic prosperity, sustainable way to live in harmony, avoid conflict. This new model, individual and collective, is something very, very new to the world. Unfortunately, in our own country, though it lives in the lives of a common man, at the conscious level, we have also forgotten to a great deal. So it is need to revive it. When Prime Minister says that we have a target, we have a destiny, we have an obligation to destiny to fulfill that by the time we celebrate our centenary of independence, we not only be materially prosperous, militarily strong, but we also must be strong in our sense of selfhood, who we are, and that is where it comes the heritage. So development with heritage, he says virasat bhi vikas bhi. Vikas and virasat going together hand in hand. And this virasat is the living heritage, is our culture. We need to initiate more and more of our young people into this. Because the situation, the distress situation in which Bhavan started nearly more than 8 decades ago during the British time, at that time it was foreign occupation. Today it is the pressure of modernity. Modernity means today European sense of modernity, the Western sense of modernity. You know, now that kind of modernity is not what we have, or our people, our civilization, our country, which has existed for over 5,000 years, perhaps the oldest living civilization in the world, doesn't subscribe to that. So when we talk about the alternative way to the world, we have to grow modern at the same time rooted in our values. Now, how do we do that? Dr. Kamakoti mentioned about various dimensions, a good initiative, and I must congratulate, he deserves applaud, that IIT Madras has initiated that, okay, from the students from background of culture also have certain seats in IIT Madras. If we have from sports, we have various quotas, why not culture? It is very important. And he is not only just taking admission from your coming from culture background, but also exploring culture, the dimension, the technological dimension, the scientific dimension of culture. When we talk about music, he explained about notes. He tried to give it mathematical expression, and I was enjoying it primarily because I am a physics student when in mathematics. When he was describing the various degree of exponential, the tones of this swaras and all, I found it very, very enthralling. It is there. Now, in the process, we have to realize that those who create the creativity that comes from the artist, people of technology are trying to explain it. Let us not get overwhelmed by that. It is important that they explain it, because the modern people, they try to understand, this European system of knowledge is essentially analytical. It breaks things into pieces and then tries to see it piece by piece, piece by piece, piece by piece. Indian way of thinking, Bharatiya way of thinking has been holistic. We always look at in totality. In every atom, we see the universe. We see the entire solar system. This is what it is. So, they have a difficulty in understanding it. But since it's the age, demand of the age, that what we claim, it also has a scientific explanation, scientific in the sense, in terms of Western science, so we also provide that. And our civilization, our civilizational heritage is so rich in every field that we believe that we have to do a lot of catch-up, what people have left behind to understand. Some time back, I was introduced into the domain of psychoanalysis. We know that Jung and Freud, Sigmund Freud and Jung, they were the leading psychoanalysts in the world. They were the one who told about how do you go deeper into mind. And I hit upon one book written by Jung. It's called Red Book. It's not Mao's Red Book. It is Jung's. It is beautifully coffee table size, thick one, red color, which he had mentioned, which contains the details of the inspirations, how he developed, how he got inspiration to do deep dive into the human psyche. But having written the book, he put a caveat that it should be published only 50 years after his death. The reason why he did that, because meanwhile he published all his research papers which came in all over the world, scientific papers, attributing it to his contribution to psychoanalysis. But if you read the Red Book, every page of it, when it goes into the human psyche, it derives from our Upanishad. Various Upanishad. For some reason, human weakness, he might have been, he didn't have the courage to acknowledge that this wisdom has come from here. So he He projected it as if it was his original finding, but he has been honest enough in recording in his book, which was published only 50 years after his death, and it is still available. It is there. So you see, today they are doing a lot of PhDs, getting patents into psychoanalysis. What is chitta? What is consciousness? But still we find that they remain confined. They find it difficult to break the barrier that consciousness can be non-material. For us, it is very easy. We always believe that consciousness, chitta, is not confined. It is something different. It is not a function of the matter. Matter conditions its expression, prakriti. Purusha is independent. That is what it is. For them, it is very difficult. So they're still trying to explain that as if that consciousness also is a function of matter. But for us, it becomes very easy when we read and find that, well, it is. Now, we need more and more research. Instead of this knowledge being appropriated or misappropriated by somebody else through modern system of patenting, we need a lot of research here also. I won't be surprised even in our music, if we do not do it, you will find that people in the West doing the patents and coming up with all the ragas and all the swaras, they will do that. So that way I thank IIT Madras for taking the initiative, and I hope the other IITs also, they also follow the suit, and we do more and more people. I know, friends, that the event that begins today, it will continue for nearly almost till about middle of January, and thousands of Rasikas will benefit from it. It will continue inspiring, because Bhavan is an inspiration to all the Gan Sabhas in our city, because the rest of them, by and large, they have come. They are also doing very well. Of course, you have system of ticketing and all. Here we don't have system of ticketing, but you need a pillar, you need a core. That core stands, and the others, they also grow along with that. So Bhavan remains the pillar, and activities of it will continue to inspire others. I extend my warmest greetings and best wishes to all the artists, the great artists they are. They have devoted their lifetime. When they come over here, they disseminate, they share their expression, their findings, their creativity with the rest of the audience. And I would expect, and I would appeal, Professor Kamakoti, that I would like more and more IIT students also to come and witness some of the performances, enjoy it, because it's not just theory. Well, we like to have more and more young people. We like to have more and more our university students. We like to have school students to come and enjoy it. Because when we say that we have to preserve our heritage, because virasat bhi, vikas bhi, heritage and as well as development, it is for the younger generation to take up the ownership of it. And our responsibility is to initiate the younger generation into our cultural heritage as well. I am sure. As the time has come, there will be more and more resonance, more and more people will come forward, and we will continue our journey towards our national destiny of being the leader of the world to save and sustain the whole world, because this is our divinely ordained obligation of this country. Bharat was not born for itself, it was born for the whole world. And this is a time for us to fulfill this obligation, and I have no doubt we will fulfill it. I conclude my word with once again thanking the Bhavans, the officials, and all the artists, and this thing above all the Rasikas, the wonderful audience. Thank you very much. Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Now we request our chief guest to honor the artist, Thiru Seshambatti Sival.